The first time it happened, it felt like the world stopped breathing for a second. Not in a dramatic, loud way, but in that quiet, unsettling pause when you realize a single moment can change the shape of your life. He was standing under harsh office lights that made everyone look tired and smaller than they really were. His hands smelled faintly of dish soap and engine oil, the usual mix from a day that started too early and ended too late. He wasn't supposed to be there long, just dropping off documents for his ex so she wouldn't have to leave work early again. He was supposed to be invisible. Instead, she stepped closer than anyone had in years, lowered her voice, and whispered something that hit him harder than any insult ever had. "I wish I had a lover like you." For a second, he didn't even understand what she meant. Then his heart kicked against his ribs like it was trying to escape. Before that moment, his life had been built on endurance, not surprise. He was a single dad named Adam, the kind of man people noticed only when something went wrong. The kind who showed up to parent-teacher meetings in worn sneakers, who apologized too much, who lived with a permanent knot of responsibility tightening his shoulders. His world revolved around his 8-year-old daughter Lily and a small apartment that always smelled like toast, laundry detergent, and crayons. Mornings were rushed, evenings were quiet, and nights were long. He had learned to survive on very little sleep and even less hope. His marriage had ended slowly, painfully, like a long winter that never quite turned into spring. His ex, Rachel, had wanted more excitement, more ambition, more proof that life wasn't passing her by. Adam had wanted stability. He wanted dinner together, bedtime stories, and the comfort of predictability. When she left, she didn't scream or throw things. She simply said she felt invisible. The irony of that statement still hurt years later. After the divorce, Adam became everything at once. Father, mother, provider, comforter. He packed lunches shaped like smiley faces, learned how to braid hair from online videos, and memorized Lily's favorite bedtime stories so well he could recite them, even when exhaustion blurred his vision. Some nights, after Lily fell asleep with her hand curled around his finger, he would sit alone in the dark and let the weight of it all settle on him, not in self-pity, but in quiet acceptance. This was his life now, and he would not fail her. Rachel moved on faster than he did. She landed a job at a fast-growing company downtown, started dressing sharper, smiling brighter. Adam never asked about her life. He didn't need to. All he needed to know was that Lily was safe when she visited her mother, and that Rachel's schedule often made Adam the default parent. He didn't complain. He adapted. The office building where Rachel worked intimidated him every time he stepped inside. Glass walls, polished floors, people who walked fast and spoke in confident tones. He always felt out of place there, like a guest who had overstayed his welcome. On that particular evening, Rachel had texted him in a rush, asking if he could drop off some paperwork she'd forgotten at home. He agreed, as he always did. Lily sat in the car with her homework while he ran inside. That's when he met her. Her name was Claire. She was Rachel's boss. She carried herself with an ease that suggested she was used to being listened to. Her presence filled the room without effort, not through arrogance, but through calm authority. She was dressed professionally, but her eyes were warm, observant. She noticed things. When Adam walked in, slightly hunched, holding a folder too tightly, she noticed him too. At first, their interaction was brief and polite. She thanked him for bringing the documents, apologized for the inconvenience, and smiled in a way that felt genuine. Adam nodded, mumbled something about it being no problem, and turned to leave. That should have been the end of it. But over the next few weeks it happened again and again. Forgotten files, last-minute favors. Each time, Adam found himself in that same building, crossing paths with Claire. And each time, she looked at him like he mattered. She asked about Lily. She listened when he spoke. She remembered details, not out of obligation, but with interest. Adam wasn't used to that. Most people saw him as tired, preoccupied, and boring. Claire seemed to see something else. One evening, after a particularly long day, Rachel was stuck in a meeting and asked Adam to wait. He stood near the break room, scrolling through messages from Lily's babysitter, making sure everything was okay. Claire walked in, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She handed one to him without asking. "You look like you could use this." He tried to refuse. He always did, she insisted. They sat, not too close, but not distant either. The conversation drifted naturally, from work stress to parenting to life choices. Adam found himself opening up in small, careful ways. He talked about Lily's fear of thunderstorms, about how hard it was to be both strong and gentle at the same time. Claire listened without interrupting, her expression soft but focused. That was when she leaned in slightly, not crossing a line but close enough for her words to feel personal. That was when she whispered it. "I wish I had a lover like you." The words weren't flirtatious in a cheap way. They were heavy, honest, full of longing. Adam froze. His mind raced through 1,000 thoughts at once. Rachel, boundaries, his own heart, which had been locked away for so long, it didn't know how to respond. Claire noticed his discomfort immediately. She leaned back, her eyes apologetic. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "That wasn't fair of me. I just meant, the way you show up, it's rare." He nodded, unable to speak. He left soon after, heart pounding all the way home. That night, After Lily fell asleep, Adam sat at the edge of his bed and stared at the wall. He wasn't angry. He wasn't flattered either. He was shaken, because for the first time in years, someone had seen him not just as a responsibility, but as a man worth wanting. In the days that followed, he tried to put distance between himself and Claire. He asked Rachel to be more careful. He avoided unnecessary trips. But life has a way of testing resolve. Lily got sick. Rachel was out of town. Adam had to pick up medication from a pharmacy near the office building. Claire saw him again. This time, she kept her distance. She was professional, respectful, but her eyes still held that same warmth, that unspoken admiration. It made Adam realize something uncomfortable about himself. He wanted to be seen like that again, not by Claire specifically, but by someone, anyone. He went home and looked at his reflection in the mirror. The tired eyes, the faint lines etched by worry and love. He realized he had spent years defining himself only by what he gave, never by what he deserved. Over time, their interactions settled into something healthier. Conversations became more guarded, but still meaningful. Claire never crossed that line again. Instead, she encouraged him in quieter ways. She talked about opportunities, about growth, about not losing oneself in survival mode. She spoke from her own pain too, though she never fully revealed it. Adam began to change, slowly. Not because of Claire, but because of what that moment had awakened in him. He started taking better care of himself. He joined a gym, not to impress anyone, but to reclaim strength. He applied for a better job, something he'd been afraid to do. He started believing that being a good father didn't mean sacrificing every part of his identity. Rachel noticed the change too. Their interactions became less tense. There was respect where resentment once lived. She saw the man she had once loved, steadier now, more confident. She even apologized one day for not seeing him back then. Months passed. Claire eventually left the company for a new role in another city. On her last day, she and Adam shared a brief, sincere goodbye. No regret, no unresolved tension, just gratitude. Thank you, she said, for reminding me what real strength looks like. Adam smiled. He meant it. Years later, Adam would think back to that whisper as a turning point, not because it led to romance, but because it led to awakening. It reminded him that kindness, responsibility, and quiet resilience are powerful, that being a good parent, a decent human being, matters more than loud success. Lily grew up watching her father show up every day, not bitter, not broken, but hopeful. She learned that love is action, that worth isn't measured by attention, but by integrity. And if there's one thing this story leaves behind, it's this. Sometimes the words that change us most aren't promises or declarations of love. Sometimes they're a simple acknowledgement of who we are at our core. Let that reminder sink in. If you give your best to the world, even when no one is watching, it matters. And one day, someone will see you. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Talks, because stories like these remind us that quiet strength, kindness, and integrity can change lives, starting with our own.